tuning in for episode number 2, not the first, the second. You got to go watch that. It's 5 minutes. It was supposed to be like half an hour. Didn't happen. But look, we back. Let me tell you why I don't have a haircut. I haven't even shaved. It's Father's Day. It's crazy. Not that you would assume this, but I just got to let you know. Just because you see me doing videos now, believe me, I don't got it all together. For real. I'm saying that because sometimes, we see people making some moves, putting out content. If you go to my Instagram and click the link, you're going to see that I got some merch, that I got a book. You might think that I got it all together. Believe me, I do not. Not at all. Not even close. When you see me, just know that I struggle. That's it. Struggle is my middle name. But what pushes me through, what has pushed me through, hasn't been my own strength at all. Even though I've tried that sometimes. I know some people could say that, they bootstrapped it, it's all their self-initiative, white-knuckled it. I can't keep a straight face and say that. It's been God, it's been grace, amen. So I thought it would be ideal to give you a chance to get to know me. What I want to do today is share my story, right? Like, why am I talking about God? What has shaped me to be the man that I am today, right? And there's so many different things, but here's my take. So I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory. I'm going to give you my turning point. I'm going to give you my journey, current struggles, the progress I've made, and then hopefully, share a little bit of achievements and a call to action at the end. So let's get right into it. My name is Jimenez Garcia. I was born in Santa Rosa. My parents moved to Oakland when I was 2. So Oakland raised me and I rep it hard. So shout out Oakland, you know what I'm saying? I was raised in Seminary Park. Right? Seminary Park, East Oakland, all the way to the dead end in those apartments. I know a lot of people know exactly where that's at. If you know Scotty's liquor store right there off the corner, you officially in the hood. If you made it to that point, you've been in the deep already. I went to Seminary Park, and then I went to James Madison Middle School, and that's really what shaped me. I'm the oldest of 3. My parents are immigrants, right? My mom's from Jalisco and my dad from Guanajuato. So I'm the oldest of 3 boys, no sisters. I got sisters in Christ, so shout out to y'all. I would describe my environment in 3 words: violence, Mexican, and cultural Catholicism. What I saw early on was violence. Violence in my family, violence in the neighborhood. There was this awareness, even at a young age, that it was dangerous. I remember being robbed when I was only 6 years old. There's constant fights and just the aggression, right? Seeing things that, you probably, if you live it somewhere else, you probably wouldn't see some of those things, right? Constant police activity. It was rough. I'm not trying to paint it like it was the roughest of the rough. My parents tried to do their best to shelter me from some of that. But that's what I would describe as violence. My parents were Mexican. The neighborhood in which I lived in, majority Mexican. When I was young, my whole class was like 90% Hispanic, Mexican, with a few black kids and maybe 1 Asian kid. And that was kindergarten all the way 8th grade. And then the cultural Catholicism. We went to church pretty consistently when I was young, and then it got spotty, but didn't know why, couldn't tell you why. I thought it was like, this is how much I thought, right? Like, this is what I mean by cultural Catholicism. I thought there was only one Catholic church in Oakland, and that was St. Louis Beltran. Off of International 100. Like, this is the one and only church. Like, in fact, I didn't even know there was other churches. I had no like understanding of that. That's what we did. You just don't ask questions. Nor did it dawn on me to ask a question. That's what it was. A couple things, right? So, in my childhood, I quickly saw that there were certain individuals, people in the neighborhood that other people looked up to. So within my friend group, the closest thing to a role model, somebody you aspire to be. All I saw early on was that they had cars, a little bit of money, that, they just look cool. They talk, a certain way, they walk a certain way. They had that aura about them, you know what I'm saying? Whatever they said, whatever they did, definitely influenced me. And then I saw that from some of my cousins. One thing is to have it out there, another thing is to have it internally, to just have it in a closer way, just because they're my cousins, seeing it more closely. So there was just no sense of direction though, right? Like, if there's anything you could get out of this, it's in this time frame, like growing up, there's no sense of direction, no sense of like, what am I doing? What am I here for? You don't think that deeply. I didn't think that deeply. You don't even pose these questions. You just take it for what it is. I was trying hard to think of like, did I ever think of like life outside of Oakland, outside my condition, my environment? I don't think I ever did. My life consisted of just doing and seeing what I was seeing, and that was that. I couldn't picture myself, project myself into the future about college. I had no idea what that was. Moving into a house, because we lived in an apartment. I couldn't think of anything like that, nor was that even brought up in conversation. It wasn't in the cards. It wasn't in my mind. It just wasn't. So no direction, affects, the way you think, and the way you think ultimately dictates what you end up doing. There's this quote that I love about, it's not so much about the answers you give, but the questions that you ask. I wasn't asking any questions back then. So it escalates quickly. I went from petty theft to assault with a deadly weapon. I went from smoking weed to snorting cocaine. Like, it's just, when I mean 0 to 100 quick, I mean 0 to 100, right? Like, it's just a blink of an eye, faster than a Tesla taking off, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's no in between, no gradual, at least for me it wasn't. And that already speaks into like my character, my personality. I've been like this since I was a kid. I just jump off the deep end, right? And I feel that deeply for kids in the hood who are like that, because that combination is deadly. I'm lucky to be alive, to be honest. So I went from juvenile hall to state prison. My first serious case, I'm a juvenile. At this point, I've been arrested a handful of times, all petty stuff. And on top of that, I'm a juvenile. They wrote me a ticket. They had my parents come pick me up. They detained me. I haven't really done any serious time. I'm 16. But when I'm 17, I get incarcerated and I'm charged with assault with a deadly weapon, carjacking, possession of a firearm, kidnapping. They just throw all these crazy charges on me. Dark period of my life. And I didn't really know the consequences I was facing. That ended up shaking my family, because it's the first time that I really actually got that I was serving time. That, this case looked, potentially that they could give me a long time in jail, even charge me as an adult, but they didn't. God intervened early on. It was one of these first moments that really brought my mom to deeper faith. Started really praying out of me, right? For me, receiving a blessing like that, not knowing why, I took it for granted. So that only just created, all right, so I went from juvenile hall to state prison, right? Again, 0 to 100, quick, the span of a few years, right? At the height of gang banging, living that reckless life, here's where I found myself at my lowest dark point, right? There was a few times in court where I thought about, this might be it. This might be the time where they give me football numbers, right? The time they throw 15 years to life, do 10, do 20. And that was hard to stomach, hard to think about. Stressing hard, thinking that might be it. Especially when you're seeing other dudes coming from court talking about that's exactly what they got, right? That wasn't my case. There's another moment at my lowest point. I never killed anybody, but I got to the point where my mind, my heart was in agreement with that. I got pulled over by highway patrol. I'm not driving, but I got a gun on my waist. I'm on felony probation. I had just got out from state prison. My heart is racing, and I'm thinking there's no way I'm finna go back to jail. So I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to get out this situation. And I can't tell you that there's a moment, and it's deep and it's spiritual, because in my heart, I said, you know what? If I had to shoot this cop, I'm gonna shoot him, but I ain't going back. That's where my heart and my mind was at. And I relate that back to Abraham, God telling him to kill his son. Like right when he had made that decision in his heart and his mind, the angel of God intervened and said, now I know. In my heart and my mind back then, I was willing to kill. I know I was. Thanks be to God that I didn't, though. That's how low I got. Not to mention that I became a drug addict. Heroin had a hold on me. Maybe I wasn't a junkie yet, but I was definitely hooked. That's all I thought about. That's all I wanted to do. I got real low with that. That was those are dark moments. But May 24th, 25th of 2013 changed my life. I got invited to go to this Catholic event called Kurigos All For Men. Had no idea what that was. Out in Jingletown. Shout out to my boy Chris. Chris, I see you. Thank you for that. But that's who God used, right? And this is a homie that I already knew. And he invited me to his retreat, not knowing what the hell I was getting myself into. All I knew is that I knew him, that it was a Friday. And I'm like, oh, then it's probably like a club or something. I had no idea. I don't think he even used the word church or anything like that. He just said, I'm going to pick you up, get a bag ready, and then we out, right? It was that quick. So I remember pulling up into this church, and all I see is grown-ass men. Like, when I mean grown, I mean like unks, 50 plus, 40 plus. I can't relate. On top of that, they bald, they overweight. Maybe not all of them were like that, but it seemed to me, you know what I'm saying? Here I am, this young, fly, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just felt out of place. That's what I'm trying to get at. I felt out of place, for sure. And that night, you know, I was like, I ran away from juvenile hall placements. I ran from the cops. Why can't I just leave the church? What's going to stop me from leaving the church that night instead of staying here for the next 2 days? That night, around midnight, I'm packing my stuff, right, in the bed. And I'll never forget. This like 80-some-year-old man from like Nicaragua. You know, here's me at night packing my bags. And he whispers. He leans over and whispers. And I'm thinking in my head, man, mind your business. Oh, man, go back to sleep. But God had a moment there. He leans in and he's like, hey, can I talk to you? I'm thinking, nah. But trying to be respectful, you know, we're in the Lord's house. And he said something so simple. And that's how I know it's grace, because it's simple. He said, hey, young man, in Spanish, right? I'm translating in English. Hey, young man, it seems like you've tried just about everything. I'm thinking, I've done a lot. So I feel like I've tried everything. And he just said in the simplest way, but you haven't tried Jesus. You guys, look, I'm not even trying to pretend. Is that coming across as something super powerful, like huge depth into that? Nah. But in that moment, he created revolution. He created tension, holy tension in my heart and my mind. And here's the thing. This guy has the audacity to drop something like that and then turn over and go back to sleep. Like, within a minute, bro was snoring. I'm like, what is this? But he leaves me in a situation where I'm like, oh man, what's going on right now? I'm like, you know what? I'm in church and I'm already getting ready to leave, and I haven't even really opened myself up to the possibility of this whole church thing, God thing, right? I lay back down, and for the first time in my whole entire life, I made a prayer that was real. Because I felt it. As soon as I finished it, I felt in my gut that God had heard. He was about to answer that. I said, God, I don't know you, but everybody has been telling me about you here. My mom has been talking to me about you. And if you want to do something in my life, if you're real, I'm going to give you this weekend. But if you don't come through, if I don't hear you, I don't ever want to do this church thing again. As soon as I said that, I knew it was real, it was intentional. I felt it in my gut. I knew. I actually ended up feeling fear. I'm like, hold up, can I take this back? I feel like he actually is going to answer this. The next day, it was just, it's like God saying, all right, bet. The first talk, 9 o'clock in the morning. Dude gets up there and starts talking about how he lost his mom. His mom had been praying for him all his life. Finally makes a change. She lives back in Mexico. He goes through this amazing conversion, and he can't wait to tell her and show her how much he finally came back to church. But she ends up dying, and he doesn't have that opportunity to show her. And he shares it in a beautiful way. But what it did for me is wrecking me. I'm thinking about my own mom. I don't have to get to that point where I make those changes to the very end. Just even sharing this right now is getting me to that point, right? I just feel like it was yesterday. And then they offer confessions. If you're Catholic, you go and confess all your sins to a priest. Trust me, I had all the doubts that my Protestant brothers and sisters have. I'm like, he's just a man. What if he's wired? You know what I'm saying? What if he got a mic on him? Like, I can't tell him all my stuff. That's jail time. But grace, it's just grace. Just like that. I went. It was Father Cortez. If you know him, you're hearing this, God bless you. It must have been like an hour confession, an hour plus. At the end of that, I just told Father, hey, Father, you're not mic'd up, right? He's like, young man, no. For the 5th time, no. That absolution is real. Weight, chains breaking. Felt light. Felt like I did something right. That was it. After that, though, the climax was adoration, Eucharistic adoration. And again, if you Catholic, that's Jesus in the Eucharist. That's what Catholics believe. And it's something I knew, because of catechism when I was a kid. They had exposition upstairs in the church, and we were going to go in groups. My group went. And the moment I stepped into that church, my heart wanted to come out my chest. Every step I took to that altar, it's almost like I saw my life flashing before me. I knelt down and I broke down in tears, not like sobbing hysterically, but just like a gentle, remorseful crying. In the book of Deuteronomy, when Moses tells the people, this day I place before you life or death, a curse or a blessing, you choose. And God was showing me the direction of my life. I chose life. I chose him. And I just surrendered. It was an unspoken surrender, but God sees the heart. He knows. I started singing a song in Spanish called Pescador de Hombres, Fisherman of Men. At this point, my Spanish is terrible. It's worse than those No Sabo kids, right? Like, it's bad. And I started singing this Spanish song word by word. The small group of men that were with me started singing along with me. I had no idea what I was singing. And when I looked up into the Eucharist, Jesus and the altar, I had this grace of 100% certainty. Like, this is Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God. I knew it. My heart burned. I felt extreme peace. And so I came back down. The retreat continues on, but then they had Sunday where they invited family and friends to come and receive you, and they invited my parents. I see my mom coming in. And yes, all this is going on and it's happening, but there's no way I'm gonna, in Hispanic culture, they want you to testify. You gotta testify. So at the end of this retreat, they give me a mic. They want everybody to speak, share a little something. I'm the last one. I did that on purpose. I don't want to share anything about this retreat. I don't want to say I'm going to change my life and then go back home and put my mama through some more pain. So I'm nervous. I'm shaking in my Air Force thinking like, there's no way I'm going to speak. But at the same time, I feel called to. I don't know where this prayer came from, and I still pray this prayer to this day. I just said, come Holy Spirit, ven Espíritu Santo in Spanish. When the mic was given to me, I don't know what I said. Next thing you know, I see people in tears. And I felt strengthened. I felt like this fire came upon me. I don't have to worry about how I'm going to live it out. I was going to get the grace and help I needed to carry it out. I leave that place. I reconcile with my mom. I find the opportunity to talk to her one-on-one. And I get on my knees and I kiss her hands. Those hands that carry a story of struggle, pain, and love. And her hands that have worked all her life, hands that have cooked for me, hands that have, guided me, hands that have prayed for me. I kiss her hands. I tell her, Mom, today, God has found me and you have a son again. You're going to see the difference. I love you. And that kicked off the journey for me. So it's been now 12 plus years going on to 13. And it's been quite the journey. Following the theme of moving quickly, God quickly made changes in my life. I get off probation in record time. I get accepted by the Bishop of Oakland. Bishop Barber accepts me to go to seminary formation. I feel this call. God was calling me maybe to be the priest. There's no way he's calling me to be a priest. I have tattoos on my face. I got criminal record. And lo and behold, he accepts me. God provided for all of that. I did 6 years of seminary, 2 different seminaries, Mount Angel Seminary in Oregon, and then transferred to St. John Vianney Theological Seminary in Denver, Colorado. So I did 6 years. Most of that was philosophy, and I thank God for the philosophy. It really changed my life. It was just amazing. But here's the thing, though, with seminary. Seminary was like God's jail. It just sounds hella funny. I don't know how else to describe it. Jail is like all men, right? And you get forced into discipline, right? You get forced into like this, this rhythm. Well, seminary, you're with all men, right? And there is discipline, spiritual discipline and challenges, and there's also academic rigor. It's interesting. There's a lot of similarities, obviously. So yeah, 6 years of study of seminary formation, but I still felt out of place. I still felt like there was so much work for God to do in my heart, and maybe I'll say something here about it, but I'll share more in detail in the future. But there was so much inner healing that needed to be done, so much reconciliation, God affirming me as a beloved son and my identity, so much anger that I had to deal with. The last tattoo that I ended up getting was this tattoo on my wrist that says, "Revenge is a promise." I didn't get that just because I had deep anger in me. And not to mention, I joke now, but the academics, bro, are you kidding me? I don't do academics. I barely made it through high school. That was a struggle, like hard, bro, hard. But at the end of that, I ended up meeting my wife. I had met her a few years prior while I was in seminary. All G rated, all good. But when I left seminary, I had actually asked Cardinal Stafford, he was in residence there in the seminary in Denver. I asked him, "Can you hear my confession?" In that confession, for my penance, he said, "I want you to reach out to a young lady that you might know and let her know that you stepped down from formation, that you're interested in dating." That was my penance. Bro, what? I'm like, there's no way. But look, one of my heroes is John Paul II, and in his office, he had a picture of him next to him. So I low-key felt like it was John Paul II inspired me. So I did. The first woman that came to mind, because he put a description of the young lady. He said, "A woman who's virtuous, whatever woman that you think is virtuous, it comes to mind." Well, Isabella came to mind. So I reached out, long story short, put a ring on that. That's all y'all gotta know for right now. And got married. Bishop Barber ended up marrying me. It's been crazy. Fast forward to today. Next month, I graduate with my double master's, MBA, Master's in Business Administration, and MA in Philosophy. And I just never thought that this would be my story. I never thought this was going to be the way that God's promises unfolded, right? That God's plan unfolded in my life. That's what it's been. Now I'm like a low-key nerd. I like to share with my little brother that you got to be a well-read baller, academics. There's people who will talk to you, accordingly, technically, the passage here, that's not me. I share it my own way. Of course, I could code switch. I could do that. I taught at a high school level. I'm still teaching now. I just like to break it down in a way that makes sense to me. I'm just shocked. I take a breath in. I'm like, man, wow, what a journey. I would love to pursue a PhD. We'll see what God has in store for that. For now, I'm here in Alameda at St. Joseph's Basilica, trying to get some programs up and running. And I'm excited about what God is doing. And I'm thankful, although it definitely has had its challenges, 100%. I can't even understate that. Please help me. Help me do the following. I want to reach people. I want to create something that hasn't been done, something that connects, something that's real, that's raw. I don't know if you've ever felt out of place in church. I do. I don't know if you've ever felt like it's just lukewarm. I don't know if you ever just had that desire to not be good, because God ain't calling us to be good. He wants us to be holy, and that's a world of a difference. God is calling us to that. It starts at the human level, right? You got to aim for excellence, for holiness in all areas of your life. So I'm launching a few different initiatives. I'm starting this man's group that's gonna be real and authentic. I got a couple books coming out that I've been working on. Drop by the store on the link and check those out. Your support means the world to me. And honestly, all I really want is that God use this and bless you. That's all I want. What I really want, if this video manages to reach somebody like me. And if for whatever reason it does, hey, just know that it don't gotta be like that. It don't gotta be like that. You don't gotta keep on thugging, and you don't gotta keep on living like that. Life is sweet. Life is beautiful, and it can be. God has a purpose, a plan for your life. And that's facts. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, right? My prayers are with y'all. Please pray for me, and let's get it. God bless y'all.
Melodies from heaven, gospel playing in my head. So many bouts with death, surprised that I ain't even dead yet. When God write the script, ain't no mistakes, that's a spell check. I'm high as THC fire, but I ain't even in hell yet. Deep breath, cause I'm diving where them whales at. And if I sink, he rescue me right where I fell at. Now I'm full speed, Autobahn in a Hellcat. Seafood and eat like I opened up a shell shack. I done traveled a journey, I done healed from my hurt. I done battled resistance, now I'm better for certain. They say that life a professor, well I'm constantly learning. My mama fight against cancer, even that had a purpose. God got a funny way of showing you who really him. My bro still in prison, I make music and it get to him. He called me on the phone and say my songs is really healing him. I never thought that bars would be the key to let me get to him. I mean, like a guillotine, play this back every time you feel unseen. Let it bring strength to your soul, way more than creatine. Let the light shine where you go, just like Billie Jean. Let me show you how to turn those nightmares into vivid dreams. Horrible into heavenly, sorrows into symphonies. I watched him bring beauty out of my pain-filled memories. So I know he can pull you out of that, just like he did for me, who really him. Let the chains fall off, cause you can't take those when you leave. Let the shame fall off, because it's battling your peace. Let the rain wash away all mistakes and make you clean. See, open eyes, realize that this life ain't what it seems, but it's better with the king. Boy, I promise he won't leave. He gon' show up right on time, be right there when you in need. Living witness, boy, I'm proof that love sets you free. Not a mansion or a drop top, not full of cheese. This ain't regular, something off, I know you feel it. You get uneasy around others, fam, I know you different. It ain't letting up, the pressure stacking up in inches. Tired of building up the fences, pain is busting out the hinges. Let go, you can finally let that stress go. Feel the wings of the maker, swoop down and save you, bring you back like an echo. I done traveled a journey, I done healed from my hurt. I done battled resistance, now I'm better for certain. They say that life a professor, well I'm constantly learning. My mama fight against cancer, even that had a purpose. God got a funny way of showing you who really him. My bro still in prison, I make music and it get to him. He called me on the phone and say my songs is really healing him. I never thought that bars would be the key to let me get to him. I mean, like a guillotine, play this back every time you feel unseen. Let it bring strength to your soul, way more than creatine. Let the light shine where you go, just like Billie Jean. Let me show you how to turn those nightmares into vivid dreams. Horrible into heavenly, sorrows into symphonies. I watched him bring beauty out of my pain-filled memories. So I know he can pull you out of that, just like he did for me, who really him. Melodies from heaven, gospel playing in my head. So many bouts with death, surprised that I ain't even dead yet. When God write the script, ain't no mistakes, that's a spell check. I'm high as THC fire, but I ain't even in hell yet. God got a funny way of showing you who really him. My bro still in prison, I make music and it get to him. He called me on the phone and say my songs is really healing him. I never thought that bars would be the key to let me get to him. I mean, like a guillotine, play this back every time you feel unseen. Let it bring strength to your soul, way more than creatine. Let the light shine where you go, just like Billie Jean. Let me show you how to turn those nightmares into vivid dreams. Horrible into heavenly, sorrows into symphonies. I watched him bring beauty out of my pain-filled memories. So I know he can pull you out of that, just like he did for me, who really him.